Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. My name is Chris Rodell. Hey, there we go. I couldn't find which overlay you had on. I apologize for that. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight and Wrestle episode 421 of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. As you can see, I don't do this alone. I got Hardcore Hoss right next to me. Hoss, how you been doing?
Hey, I've been doing pretty good. How you doing there, Big Sexy?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good, man. We're doing good. I mean, I had MMWA this past weekend. I got Dynamo Pro this Saturday night. So I'm into 2022 with a big bang. And I know that you were at WDWA this past weekend.
Oh yeah, WDWA. They had a pretty good show and and lots of action, lots of people there, and it went over pretty good.
Did Joe get tased?
No, Joe did not get tased.
Well, he's a Russian sympathizer, so is he still sympathizing with them?
He has taken the Russian shirt off now, and he has told me he is no longer a Russian sympathizer, but he has not done anything to prove that. So, still remains to be seen.
Well, of course, me and Hoss aren't going to do this alone tonight. We got a couple of special co-hosts to bring in. First of all, we're going to bring in our correspondent from the Pacific Northwest, the one and only, one of the newer members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family, Mr. Justin Wade. Justin, how's everybody doing? How you doing?
How are we doing tonight?
Good.
I just got done with work. I'm tired. So.
Work always looking good with that tie on. I mean, I guess
I do a lot of stuff with court. So I have to look the part.
We really know what's going on from the waist down. We know what's going down from the waist down. So I mean,
yeah, board shorts.
So it's good to see you. How you been?
Doing good. I just trying to catch up on sleep this past weekend. I tried to catch NXT and Ring of Honor, but let's just say I set an alarm for the evenings and I slept right through both shows. So
I've had days like that where it's just like you can kind of hear your phone going off in the back of your mind, and then you're just kind of like, screw it, I'm not going to answer anything. So
I'm going to have a gym nut, and they have a state-of-the-art gym in our apartment complex. And I basically, for 48 hours, didn't leave my apartment building. So we have, I had groceries at home. Wife went out and got her coffee. She did her thing. I slept forever. And I've been trying to catch up on the weekend of wrestling. We had some good shows this past weekend.
It was a good weekend for wrestling. I mean, and plus you don't really even have to leave your apartment anymore. You can have the groceries delivered to you with Instacart. You can have food delivered to you through DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats, whatever is going on up there. So I mean, it's kind of nice sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, yes it is.
So, Big Hoss, we have another person, one of our newest co-hosts backstage. So, you want to go ahead and give the introduction? If I'll let you go ahead and introduce our newest co-host.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. One of our newest, actually not one of our newest, he is the newest, the one, the only, the Alpha.
How you guys doing?
He's in the closet.
I know.
I think something was being delivered to him. I don't know. Was water being delivered to you or something?
Yeah, it's
something?
right here.
So, Alpha, how you been doing?
I've been doing fantastic. I just got off work, and I'm ready to talk wrestling.
You always seem to be wanting to talk wrestling. So, I mean,
It's my passion.
So, well, I guess we can't do this. Besides us doing it, we can't do it without our sponsors. So, who wants to take care of the sponsor the sponsors? We'll throw. All right, Justin. Let's see.
Gentlemen.
There we go.
Yeah, we'd like to thank all of our great sponsors: Royal Mills Transportation. We got Rathbun Engraving, where we can get that, Wrestle Talk podcast mug. It's only $20, folks. Nobleman's Barber Lounge. Everyone needs a clean shave or haircut every once in a while. We got Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. We got Interstate 70 Sports Media. Little Popeye Designs. That's where you can get the Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler. And the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. Boom.
Oh, and we'll have our FWWC segment later on in the show with Big Hoss is actually going to lead that segment this week. The CEO is out conducting business, ain't that right, Hoss?
That's what I'm being told.
Yeah. So well, we also have another tradition here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, episode 421. We got two great guests, Jakob Edwinn, and then my nemesis from Dynamo Pro Wrestling, the new Dynamo Pro heavyweight champion, the Snitch, will be in the house. So
I don't understand why he's your nemesis. I just don't understand that.
Because even with the mask, he's better looking than Mr. Chris. So
that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
You're right. I'm super jealous of someone who wears a mask, but hey, we're not going to talk about
that, gentlemen. So
we'll talk about that in the second hour. But we do have this tradition that we like to do here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, and I'm going to let Hoss take care of it because Hoss is Joe used to do it, but Hoss is taking Joe's spot. So.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it here, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please remove your hats, place your hands over your hearts. It is time that we pay homage to the best damn country anywhere, and that being America, damn it. Brings a tear to your eye every time.
And it brings blood to my ears. I love it.
I don't know what it brings, but I'm not quite sure tear is exactly it. But hey, we got this. So, like I said, we got two great guests coming up, and we're gonna be talking a whole bunch of things about. We might talk a little bit about Ring of Honor and some NXT and what's going on with the WWE and everything. So. Let's go ahead.
Depends on what that randomizer spits out.
That is true. We got a new tool, the randomizer. So, Big Hoss, you want to go ahead and hit the theme as we go ahead, and we're going to jump into our show, and we're going to talk about all the big things happening in the professional wrestling world. I can't talk right now, and it's high spots. Hit that music.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
Whew. All right, man. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the big topics here in the professional wrestling world. But you know what? We don't do this. We don't have a set plan going into these things. We have what we like to call the Wrestle Talk Podcast Randomizer. Hoss is going to go ahead and fire that up. Hoss is helping out on the back end. So, Big Hoss, let's fire up the randomizer and see what our first question of the night is going to be.
All right, here we go.
Big bucks, no whammies, no.
Come on. I have no patience tonight, guys.
Oh, let's see. The New Day won the NXT. Okay, this is going to be a spoiler. Sorry, Alf.
This was the one spoiler I saw, so
Okay.
I'm like, it was a surprise, but also like I'm not going to pretend like I cared about the guys they beat them from. Anyways, I just want to see the match.
The New Day won the NXT Tag Team titles at Deadline this past week, becoming one of only 3 teams that have held the NXT, the Raw, and SmackDown titles, with the Street Profits, and the other team was the Revival, FTR. So, where do you rank the New Day in WWE history? Let's start off. We'll throw it to Alpha, since he's the newest.
Where do I? Gosh, that's such a big one. If I had to say, I think I got to say at least in the top 3. Like, I don't want to say where in the top 3, but I think I'm pretty comfortable in saying that they're an effective tag team because they went from a group that most people weren't crazy about to being like the tag team in WWE. And also one of the few tag teams in WWE history that never had a proper like break off. So lastability as a tag team too, but it definitely in the top 3 as far as WWE history is concerned.
Awesome. Justin?
This is a step back for him. I completely am not happy with this. Ever since Big E was injured, they've pretty much have regulated them to an afterthought, and them competing in NXT does not sit well with me. These guys had feuds of the year with the Usos, and now they're to a point of where, well, we can't beat the Usos, so let's go down to the minors and win their tag team title.
I mean, I can, but as you notice, that the WWE lately has been sending down some of their, I shouldn't say sending down, but has been sending some of their main roster talent to supplement NXT to kind of maybe help build up some of their superstars. So I don't have a problem with it. It didn't really have the build it probably could have had, but
and honestly, I don't know if I'm not in the loop anymore or what, but a majority of the NXT guys I have to constantly look up because I don't know what it is, but I think because we were spoiled with the beginning of NXT and they had all the guys from Ring of Honor and in TNA that we previously known. Now these guys, they're fresh new talent that I've never heard of before, and it's a change to me. And as you're going to find out, Alpha, as you get older, change is not a thing that older people like. So
that's true.
I'm trying to get used to the new branding in NXT. Now I know who Braun Breaker is, and a few others, but I had a hard time when I was watching the highlights following that whole pay-per-view because sadly I didn't know the guys like everybody else does. So.
Yeah, they kind of did that. They kind of brought up their people, and then with the NXT 2.0, they kind of went into a new direction with more homegrown, their homegrown talents, and
that's fantastic.
And they're still trying to do that, but they're supplementing. I think working with the New Day is going to help pretty deadly out. So, Hoss, what's your opinions?
Honestly, I tend to agree with Alpha. They probably would be in the top 3. And as far as taking them down to NXT, I can see where sometimes people need like a boost, and taking them back to NXT, and it'll help give them that little boost. As well as I do admit I don't know a lot of the guys in NXT anymore, just like Justin said, and But at the same time, you bring somebody like New Day down to work with these guys, it's going to help build them up and make them that much better and hopefully help put them over. So I can see where they would be in the top 3.
I agree. They're one of the best. I mean, Kofi Kingston as a tag team talent is probably one of the. I think this is going to be his 15th reign, and he's been. It's not just New Day that he's partnered with CM Punk,
R-Truth, Evan Bourne.
So Kofi Kingston's been around a while. I think that's why when he won the heavyweight title at WrestleMania, I think that's why that moment sticks out to a lot of people. That's still probably one of my favorite moments ever is him winning the title at WrestleMania. But yeah, they're surefire first. I would say they're surefire ballot first time Hall of Famers, and definitely in the top 5 when you talk about the best tag teams in WWE history, because they just continually have
modern day Freebirds. So
true.
When Big E's there with them.
And it's a shame what happened to Big E. Hopefully that maybe in 2023 that he'll be able to come back, but neck injuries aren't anything to mess with. So yeah. I mean, so we won't know about Big E until it happens. So that's just my opinion. So you guys want to move on? Anybody got anything else to say about the New Day, or shall we move on to our next question?
I had a little bit. Okay. The main thing I think to where I can see where Justin's coming from is that I can definitely see why it would be a step back for people like that, just because we know the New Day is capable of more as far as talent wise is concerned. And I also can see why a lot of people would be against it as far as a championship is concerned, because remember the last time we had a main roster person win the NXT championship, we had Charlotte, and then we had that whole situation with Rhea Ripley, and that was very divisive amongst the wrestling community. I think the reason I'm holding out is just because as far as they don't seem like they're planning anything. And I remember I saw a post somewhere where somebody was like, oh, they should do a winner takes all with the Usos. And I'm like, I don't think that I agree with that.
No.
Yeah, see, I'm not going on this. And you wanted to value the belts even more? Yeah, exactly.
The Charlotte and NXT thing, her beating Rhea Ripley, I get where they were going with it.
I don't.
Well, I guess I kind of get where they were going with it. They were trying to bring some legitimacy to NXT at the time, but it just didn't work because I find Charlotte. I don't know. There's something about Charlotte that doesn't sit well with me. I don't know.
With you, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
I'm right there with you.
I mean, she's not bad in the ring, so it's not that. It's just I don't know. Something about her personality.
I think it's just that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying she's a player. That's her personality, you know.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah. Her father, one of the probably the greatest professional wrestler to ever step foot in a ring. You know, you got him in her ear. I don't know what it is too. It seems like Rick is getting older too. He's trying to stay relevant. If you guys listen to his podcast, he always thinks. I hope you know. I'll probably never get to meet him, so I don't think those will hurt me. But it seems like every time he does his podcast, someone else has beef with him, supposedly. So, you know, it's just like there's something about that rubs me the wrong way. You know, he retire, just you know. So
he had his final match this year, so hopefully we won't have to worry. I have all kinds of feelings on that because I sat through that. And
yeah. To bookend it, though, I guess my biggest thing and the reason why I'm on the other side of the fence as far as this is a concern is that I think having New Day as the NXT Tag Team Champions could definitely set them up as like the team to beat in NXT if they decide to keep them there long enough. Like, and it's not just a one and done. And then as a result, I think we can get more star-making performances, or at least just performances out of the NXT talent that we don't know, because we know New Day is going to show up to work if they get into a tag team match. So it's like,
and I don't want to spoil too much of the match for you, Alpha, but there's going to be a spot there that you'll remember. It's a very you probably have seen the clips.
Yeah, I saw a GIF.
the variation on the Eddie Guerrero spot. I thought that was brilliantly
It
done.
was fantastic.
I have one positive light that could come out of the New Day in NXT. Now, hear me out, fellas. I'm always thinking of storylines because I always think I would be the greatest professional wrestling writer to ever play the game, like all of us do.
Of course.
The New Day runs roughshod and holds the tag titles for a length of time in NXT. And then there's an in-ring segment with them and the Usos, who are still the WWE champions. Usos go on to insult them, saying, "What are you guys doing playing in the kids league? You know, you guys used to mean something. You know, you guys had huge of the year with us. You know." And then to save face, you know, New Day they don't drop the belts, they just relinquish them, and then they rekindle their feud with the Usos. Maybe they went down to NXT to freshen up their game, and the Usos call them out for, you know, being scared of them. So who knows? Maybe that's the end game.
And I'm not gonna lie, the Usos and the New Day had a really good series of matches for the longest.
Yes, they did.
The Hell in a Cell match. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So good.
And it doesn't matter which two of the New Day it was. It could have been Kofi and Xavier and Big E, Kofi and Big E. Just any combination worked. And Dr. Dallas Stevens joins us, one half of your MMWA Tag Team Champions.
Good evening.
Good, glad to see you here. So I guess let's go ahead and do another randomizer. We got to pull up another question. So Hoss, fire up the randomizer, and hopefully we don't land on a whammy.
All right, so let's go ahead and hit this randomizer again. And ladies and gentlemen, hang in there. We are about 5 minutes away from our first guest, the professor, Mr. Jakob Edwinn. I know he's back there in the green room right now, getting ready to come out, and so
enjoying the green M&Ms he requested.
Of course. So let's go ahead and see what that randomizer brings up on this one.
Is Tony Khan owning Ring of Honor good for that brand, or is it being presented as just another AEW show? Does it carry the Ring of Honor vibe? Okay, I'm going to not probably weigh too much in on this because I was not a Ring of Honor guy. It was kind of just, it just wasn't one. Its main popularity was at a time that I did not watch wrestling at all. So I'm going to defer to people that actually paid more attention to Ring of Honor. But to say it could be, but it's kind of an afterthought right now because it doesn't have a weekly TV show. You could very easily make Rampage the Ring of Honor show and still probably not affect numbers that much. That's just my opinion. I'm going to defer to someone else. I don't know which one of you want to take it first. Maybe Justin should take this first because he's an old school. He's an old school Ring of Honor because he brought up that it's like an old school Ring of Honor thing.
I don't think, you know, I think he's trying to capitalize with both brands, trying to compete against the WWE, and it's not working. You know, Ring of Honor, unfortunately, was never able to. Everybody knows they weren't able to compete with the WWE because of the money situation. But I've been to Ring of Honor shows in the past, and it was always sold out. But it was in smaller venues. It felt like, I don't know, it just felt like a grunge show, and I like that experience. You know, they worked their tails off, and I don't know. I just feel like the final battle was a AEW B show pay-per-view. I don't know. I just got that feeling.
And you say smaller venues. I know you're originally from the area. Ring of Honor, whenever they were in town, they would run at the Gateway Center over in Collinsville. So it's a small arena.
It just had like a, I don't know, I liked how they're back in the day they were it was a David versus Goliath type competition between them and the WWE. You know,
almost not quite to the ECW vibe because it wasn't as necessarily as extreme, but it was the little guy punching up.
Yeah, and every one of their competitive workers that I just got done watching a 3-match series of Kenta Kobashi over in Ring of Honor. Then when he came over to Ring of Honor, he fought Samoa Joe. He teamed with Homicide to take on Samoa Joe, and I believe it was Kenta. And then he, it was just phenomenal stuff like that. And I'm not feeling it with Ring of Honor or Tony Khan on Ring of Honor right now. I believe he's going to make it an afterthought because he's going to focus on AEW. I'm not happy that I believe it's in the wrong hands.
Didn't Punk and Joe have like a 70-minute
series that you can watch on YouTube in its entirety? They show all 3 matches in its entirety.
And it was like then they end with it was a 60-minute time limit draw, and then they went like 10 more minutes after that or something. I don't know. That's just a rumor I heard. I don't know for sure, but I mean, all the matches back then were pretty decent. I just was not a person that tuned into Ring of Honor. So,
and I'm not gonna lie to you, back in the day, I didn't have cable when I was first living in St. Louis with my wife. And
you were a tape trader, weren't you?
No, I just watched Ring of Honor on Channel 30. They'd have it on at midnight on Saturdays. And that show was so much fun to watch because I didn't have access to Raw or TNA. And for a while there, it seemed like TNA, you had to flip through the channels to find TNA because they never had a distinct channel that they were on.
You still kind of have to flip through because they're on AXS.
I can't find Impact anywhere.
It's on AXS. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
And it doesn't get more than 100,000 viewers because it's on a station that's not carried everywhere. It's not carried widely. So anyway,
that's
Alpha, you seem like you have some opinions.
The thing is, I am not like the biggest. I don't want to say that I'm like a diehard Ring of Honor fan. It's not that I don't hate it. It's just that like at the time I never really watched it. I have to like go back and watch all the old stuff and go off of the vibe like people like Justin have, where they actually got to experience it. I only had it secondhand. So as far as what is it? Does it carry the Ring of Honor vibe? I can't say for sure because most of my Ring of Honor vibes are the later end of it, with the Gold Belt and Bandito and Dalton Castle and sort of the post Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly Ring of Honor. So I can't really say if it carries.
So Ian Raccaboni was the commentator for most of what you remember of Ring of Honor, not Kevin Kelly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember watching it with Kevin Kelly, and I like Kevin Kelly. I think he's good, but I really like Ian Raccaboni too. He's really, really good.
I love them both, honestly.
Boys, I got to see the very first Ring of Honor television taping back in 2011. I showed up. I didn't know it was a television taping. I got tickets for the event. I was there for over 6 hours. They taped 3 shows. And I didn't leave till like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was spent. They had so many big name matches. It wasn't even funny because they were trying to build up their first, couple shows. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I actually used to enjoy Ring of Honor myself and Joe and my sister and Joe's wife. Yeah, we actually all went to one of the pay-per-views here in Baltimore, and they put on a pretty good show that night, and we really enjoyed it. And then afterwards, we actually got to meet the Briscoes out in the parking lot, and it was a good experience. But I think now that it's been taken over by AEW, I think it's just an afterthought.
I will say that after, because where the Gateway, Justin knows this from being here, where the Gateway Center is, it's right next to Wild Country where I used to work at, and there was some story on a Saturday. Apparently, on a Saturday show, all the boys came over. There were a lot of the boys that came over from the show to Wild Country and spent some money, and and as you can get, the rumor has it that there were a couple of the guys kicked out in their brother combination. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't know for sure because I wasn't there. I heard the after stories of it. So, but
Yikes.
All right. Well, I think if we're done with that, I guess it's time we go ahead and get in with our first guest. If you guys are ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. You want to go? So this is someone up your alley that you know more about than we do. So, Hoss, you want to go ahead and take the introduction on this one?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast a man who has been in wrestling for over 10 years now. He has wrestled many big names such as Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Rhino, Jimmy Valiant. He's been around a lot of them. So let's welcome in the one, the only, the Professor Jakob Edwinn.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Professor.
Hey, how you doing?
Glad to have you here.
I was told there'd be music.
There is.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming on, Professor. It's a
barely
pleasure
hear
to have
myself.
you. So, yes, I have seen the Professor live at one of the former branches around here, ep.421. I've seen him at WDWA, as well as many other branches. So it's always a pleasure to see you, Professor.
Thanks so much. I've been around a long time, and I've made a lot of different impacts, and I've had a lot of different names under that time. I went away, I came back. There's a lot to me. In 10 years, I've wrestled as far as Oklahoma or Tennessee or as high as Pennsylvania, Ohio. I've been all over the place. South Carolina. I'll be in Florida in March. It's all over the place.
I saw where you have been a lot of different places, and it's very interesting. One of the things that I'm going to ask you about here actually was one of your recent Facebook posts. Since we're talking high spots here, and just finished up with that, it's something that I'd like to get other people's opinions on as well. The fact that you had said that there seems to be a lot of triple threat matches and specialty matches of that type, and you thought it was being overused. So
listen, let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of spell it out a little more plainly than you could. Triple threat matches, fatal four-way matches, 6-man scrambles, 12-man scrambles, 20-man battle royals. We've all seen them. We've all experienced them. And sometimes we've had to suffer through them. This is a thing where, so obviously as a competitor, I don't enjoy those matches because with each incremental increase in an opponent, you have a less percentage chance of winning. I think very infamously, Scott Steiner covered that. But as a competitor, that's my disagreement with it right off the bat. But if we go a little deeper than that, what you most often see are the results of triple threats and fatal four-ways come from extra people showing up to the show. I don't think it's any secret. It's no pullback of the curtain. Wrestlers show up to shows trying to get on. They're trying to get their name out there. And I think more often than not, people are going to throw together these triple threats, these fatal four-ways, because there's extra people lying around. And so that doesn't come off to me as a very controversial opinion, because I can't think of my favorite triple threat match. And if I can, that list is so much shorter than the list of singles matches. If you just ask someone their favorite match, triple threats don't usually come up. Fatal four-ways don't usually come up. Someone had the gall to say, they had the gall to bring up Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble. Obviously, that's not what I'm talking about. Those are two specialized matches that happen once a year. Meanwhile, that's the other thing too, right? This post got so much controversy and got so much spun up, and it ended up with a lot of people putting words in my mouth. It's really, I guess I left it broad and open to interpretation, but people really ran away with it. I see I'm here with 4 different hosts, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys talk. I have a tendency to ramble, so I'm going to slow myself.
You're a great talker, brother.
No, you're good. I've been around the business for a long time, on and off for 20 something plus years or something. So are you saying that triple threat matches are just because, hey, we got 3 extra guys on the show that showed up that we're just going to toss them all in the mat? I mean, because I've seen matches of like people that are just, maybe one or 2 matches in that are put into like multi-man matches with veterans just to cover, to help cover, I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about it. Was that what you mean? Or are you just talking about just the randomness of a 3-way match?
It's too much. It's too often. It's too much. It's too often. I would so much rather. All right. So one of my biggest gripes, right? If you put on a fatal 4-way match, just make it a tag team match. If you have a triple threat match, that's just an extra guy, an odd person out. Someone no-showed or someone showed up that wasn't planned upon. And so we're just going to throw them in this match. And I think everybody suffers for it. The more people you put in a match, the more it bogs down how anybody could stand out. So one of the goals as a professional wrestler, and it's one of the benefits we have over mixed martial artists, is we have a chance to really show ourselves and really present our personality and let our natural charisma ooze out. And sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle in a triple threat match, in a fatal 4-way match. A lot of people were trying to argue about the stories you can tell and the things. Here's the thing. There was David versus Goliath, not David versus Goliath versus Goliath. Suddenly you're muddying the water when you just could have had David versus Goliath, or man versus beast, or man versus man versus himself. There are so many other stories to tell and so many other things that you get to see. At no point does the NFL have 3 teams on the field. Nor does the NBA, nor does MMA. And so in some aspects, the triple threat match is so unique. It's such a benefit. And it's so in its inception, right? In its inception, it was 3 people with a legitimate gripe against each other. These were 3 people that absolutely had a problem with the other one. It was rock versus scissors versus paper. And that's not what we get now. That's not the thought that's put into it. Okay, here's 3 people that have a legitimate conflict, that actually dislike each other. No, it's just someone showed up or someone else didn't show up. So these 2 singles matches have now become a triple threat. Now, listen, things happen. Things happen. Somebody doesn't show up. So a promoter sometimes are forced into a corner. And
you think best laid plans? Something happens on show day that someone can't be. I mean, I don't know. You're crazy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, because every show I think I've ever been on has had something happen day of that. A car breaks down, a kid gets sick, someone gets sick, someone's always injured. Something. Right.
There's always something that's totally fine. I get it. Some people are forced and backed into a corner. But if you asked me on a show, I'm going to do what I'm asked. If you present me with a triple threat, I'll go in, I'll compete, I'll do the best of my ability. I will be a professional. But I would rather counteroffer with, hey, would you rather me just go out and talk? And, not to toot my own horn, but if you're listening to me now, you're listening to my sultry tones and you're listening in your earbuds, you can tell I can turn a phrase. I can spin a yarn. I'd rather do that for 2 minutes than force my body into the perils of a triple threat where you have to have eyes in the back of your head and something that can turn into a cluster. And that's something I think those other 2 competitors would probably appreciate that from me as well.
So I just want you to know, I Googled while you were talking, spinning those sultry tones. I Googled what was the first wrestling triple threat match, and apparently it didn't happen until like 1993. And
wow,
Jim Cornette is is credited with coming up with the triple threat match. Apparently, he built a match between Jimmy Golden, Robert Fuller, and Dutch Mantell versus Tom Pritchard, Stan Lane, and Bobby Eaton versus Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, and Arn Anderson.
Right.
This is from an article back in 2014. Obviously, I can't verify that, but that's what's on the internet. That's what first comes up in Google. So we can blame Jim Cornette for something else.
Oh, if it's on the internet, it's true. You know, it can't be untrue.
Listen, Jim Cornette has taken credit for that, and I don't believe that's the match. That sounded much more convoluted than what he went for. I think it involved Dirty White Boy and Smoky Mountain Wrestling, but he complains. He hates what he created. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like what he sees now on television. In that same vein, you know, it's kind of Frankenstein's monster. Damn what I have made. And the other thing too, right, is his match, his triple threat match, was done in the WCW three-way dance style, where it was elimination instead of first pinfall to a finish. It was elimination style, where there are two distinct reasons for people to go out. And I think that's another thing that goes unappreciated, that also is not incorporated. Let's do it where it's, and here's the other thing, right? The confusing part becomes it's no disqualification, this new incorporation of a rule. I don't like that either. I don't like having to watch out for chairs and ladders and tables while I'm just trying to have a wrestling match. You know, if that's not what I signed on for, then I'm losing my mind. And here's the other thing too, right? Real quick, I'm going to go ahead. Again, I'm going to ramble, but let me finish this next point too. So John reached out and he said, this caused a lot of controversy, this post. And I want to kind of address that too. The controversy was so blown out of proportion. It's ridiculous. How can we are, and it was mostly other professional wrestlers. I'm not here to name names. That's not what I'm here to do. But where are we in professional wrestling when people get so heartbroken, so their feelings just absolutely genuinely stung because I said, let's do less triple threats. Hey, maybe promoters stop giving people chicken shit that they have to turn into chicken salad. It's absurd that things have become so sensitive. You know, that's where we're at. People used to get in fights in locker rooms because you sat in their chair. And now we're getting spun up about a Facebook post, just one guy's opinion. But suddenly it's this whole big to-do. You know, and I'll post the professional thing. Hey, this is me. I'm coming up at this RWA show here this weekend. I'm wrestling for a championship. It'll get 5 to 10 likes. But this, suddenly I say, hey, a little less triple threats and fatal four ways, and that gets 30, 50 likes and 50 comments, and it's all over the place.
Hold up. Wait a minute. What you're saying is someone took a post and blew it way out of proportion on social media? That's never happened before.
Listen, I know I'm not the first, and I know I'm not going to be the last, but let's not pretend it's anything better. You know, just because it's not the first murder and it's not the last murder, it doesn't mean it's not still murder. We can blow this out of proportion all we want, but you know, I don't call myself a victim. I really welcome that kind of attention. I'm very happy for it, but I'd rather the attention be on the in-ring product, and I'd rather people try not to virtual signal and actually try to pretend like it's okay that we're just in triple threats, fatal four-ways, six-man scrambles all the time. In fact, hey, all those people that defended it can go ahead and be in all the triple threats that they want. I'll go ahead and stick to singles matches, main events, first match, whatever. From top to bottom of the card, I would much rather be in a singles match.
I got one more question. I'm going to throw it over to all the rest of my co-hosts. But some wrestlers find it offensive that they're in the first match of the card. I mean, that's not offensive to you, is it? I mean, have you ever found it like when you look at the run sheet that you're in the first match of a card?
No, not today. Probably closer to the 80s was, and maybe early 90s was around the last time that being in a curtain jerker match was actually considered being the curtain jerker that you would call in like a theater lineup or, you know, something of that matter. Arn Anderson talked about his first matches where usually he was the first match and they were told to wrestle until the time limit draw, and often that's what you would see. So nowadays, though, with the advent of television becoming more important, pay-per-view becoming more important, first match actually was supposed to set the tone. Sometimes you see that being the second most important match on the entire card. Because if your first match is terrible and it doesn't go, sometimes these matches turn ugly, right? And sometimes styles make fights, and sometimes they make, chess matches, and sometimes they just make draws where nothing really happened, nothing really came together for anybody, and it got locked up. It's gridlock in there, and it didn't work out. So that makes everything else for the rest of the night have to work an uphill battle. You want to start everybody at the top of the hill, riding the momentum of you, not the opposite way where they're now having to go in the dip and climb back up. It's very hard to follow that stinker of a first match. I'm not offended by anywhere I'm at on the card because I know I can be on anywhere on the card.
Agreed, because we've talked about it in locker room meetings. They're like, don't ever find it offensive that you're on the first match of the card. You're the one that's setting that tone, and you're there for a reason. And the promoter and the booker would not have you in that first match if they didn't believe in you. So that's my opinion. So and Dr. Dallas Stevens, one of the wrestlers here in the St. Louis area, one of the MMWA tag team champions, said it's an honor and you set the tone for the show. So that's kind of what you said. You set the tone for the show. So right. I'm going to turn it over to the rest of my co-hosts. I don't know who wants to jump in. Someone.
I'll take it. I'll take this next question. Jacob, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. Thank you for doing the show. It does seem like you do have a gift for the gab, and what I want to ask you is, did you always, before you got into the world of wrestling, did you always have this type of, tone where you could speak like this on the cuff, or is there somebody you watched growing up that got you, ready for it? And for the wrestlers out there that are coming up through the game, I'm the only asking this because I think it sounds like you're a great talker, and I just want to know, man, is there any advice you would give to the new guys coming up that want to give good promos and be able to speak off the cuff like it seems like you're doing tonight, man?
So I'm going to answer your second question first. As for specifically advice for anyone coming up or coming into wrestling, this is the advice I always give when people ask me this question, and that is simply don't do it. Do not get involved in professional wrestling. It's so hard. It's so painful. It's one of the worst mistakes you'll ever make in your life. And then the second part of that is, unless you love it. This is the minute I see people start to struggle with the idea of should I wrestle or should I stop, I tell them to stop. Because the minute you have to question it, the minute you're hurting yourself for nothing. This is such a painful and rigorous job that I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So then to kind of reframe the tone, you added I broke it down in kind of a part B where young advice for anybody that wants to learn how to talk like this. So a lot of people are really born with it. I'll say I was not born with this. I could not just naturally do this in front of, my classes in high school. I think I notoriously froze up several times. I'll say this too. Before I started wrestling, I had my own podcast that was kind of a general discussion. And the first time we had a celebrity, quote unquote celebrity, he was a local DJ, in the DC area. And I froze up. I froze up immediately. And it's one of those things where this was a war of attrition for me. This was something I forced myself to learn. And a lot of it came from figuring out my voice, right? I'll shout someone out. I mentioned him in the last podcast I did, but I believe it's going to be released after this. But Corey Bush, who I've been on several different odds and ends with on sides of the ring. When I first trained, he was around and he would constantly approach me and ask me, where is it? What is it? What do you have to say today? He was always referring to my voice. He was trying to help me find my voice in the meanest of ways, constantly in front of all of our group of trainees trying to call me out and say, go ahead, Jacob, go ahead, young Jacob, say something, tell us something, tell us a story, spin us a yarn. And I had nothing to say for the longest time. But it's one of those things where you go away and you try on a new coat of paint and you try to kind of find your voice. And I did that down in Tennessee. I moved to Tennessee. I moved to Jackson, and I started wrestling for Pro Wrestling Mid-South. At the time, it was NWA Mid-South. But they would soon be, now they are currently Pro Wrestling Mid-South. And that was a place where, because I moved, I was able to really reinvent myself and kind of calibrate what I was and focus where my game was strongest. And I leaned into verbal and being just more just boastful, and honestly started just being myself. It's where I found the professor name. And so to finally answer your question, the advice I would give is find your voice. Really try to find who you are. And sometimes for some people, that is taking their own personality and pouring it into this. That's what I do here. This isn't what you would call a gimmick or a character. This is me. This is who I am. If you meet me at a merch table, this is who I'm going to be. If you meet me on the way to my car, this is who I'm going to be. And especially if you meet me in the ring, this is who I'm going to be. Some other people absolutely need to put on a metaphorical or physical mask and absolutely become someone else. At no point do I think, I don't know, Abyss. He had to be someone completely different from what he was. Mick Foley, Mankind, Dude Love, Cactus Jack. These are so many things, and there was a little bit of every one of those people in Mick Foley, and he absolutely did what he could to just pour everything into that. But Cactus Jack didn't come home to his wife. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, so if you're looking to find your voice, maybe it's something completely different from what you're used to, or maybe you got to find the piece of your personality that's just going to absolutely come out and bloom like you wouldn't believe.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I have one question for someone else. What type of experience and knowledge do you get? Do you think that you've gotten when you've been in the ring with guys like Rhino and Jim Duggan?
Well, they both have a pretty mean spear, and I think I've gotten pretty good at avoiding that. But aside from that, just really, so wrestling Jim Duggan happened a lot sooner than wrestling Rhino, and I was much more comfortable with who I was when I was wrestling Rhino, and I think I got a lot more competitive in that match and was actually able to bring what I offer to the table a lot more in that match. So when it comes down to it, when you start having confidence in yourself and you're able to bring that to a wrestling match, that changes the game. It really does.
All right, awesome. You guys mind if I get the next question?
Hey, go ahead, man.
All right.
Yes,
first of all, pleasure to meet you, Jacob. It's a pleasure to meet you, first of all. Huge wrestling fan. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but I just have to ask, who were your biggest inspirations for wrestling? Who inspires you the most as far as, performance-wise or character-wise or mic-wise, or who are some of your favorites?
Oh, goodness. Some controversial takes here. The Undertaker was my absolute favorite when I was a kid. Just far and away my favorite. But then as I grew up, CM Punk really stole my heart. That was really something for me once I started, getting older and, coming into my own as a person. I thought he really spoke to me and really showed what I wanted to see in pro wrestling. And nowadays more, I will watch Arn Anderson on a 24-hour loop. That man was something else, and he never gets the credit that he's due. Even if he gets all the credit in the world, it's not enough. That man was really, really smart and really, really talented. And I've gotten a chance to meet him and tell him these things myself. And he's also paid me compliments before that I have a lot in my heart for Arn Anderson.
That's Spinebuster.
I mean, listen, he's so much more than just a spine buster either. I'm not taking anything away from his spine buster. It was beautiful. It's what people try so hard to emulate now. Some people don't even realize they're trying to copy the Arn Anderson spine buster. They're watching Triple H's spine buster and saying, man, I wish I could do that, while Triple H was trying to do Arn Anderson. So, right. And so, like, people don't come close to it. Even today, he can hit a better spine buster than half of professional wrestling as a whole. And he's so good. And you watch, there's so many things he does in the ring and on the microphone. He had a very small handful of very huge moments on a microphone, but he made every inch of it. He took everything. Even what was it last year that he
the Glock promo?
The Glock promo, absolutely.
Some of the shirts that came out from that and the memes that came out because of that, the armed Anderson, and just
it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and like it kind of goes to show a lot of the best promo work you see today is still coming out of the old hands. Arn Anderson, Jake the Snake, and Arn Anderson, Gold Dust. You see so much of that now, where it really now. That takes nothing away from some of the younger guys that are still trying and still coming up with their own good stuff. But it shows you that no matter how old you get, you still have your voice, you still have your mind. You've got a ticket to the to the race. You know what I mean?
Yes, I mean that's true. It's just old school wrestling still has a place in wrestling today. Justin's kind of an old school guy. He's a bigger, what they would call a Hoss type wrestler. I mean, even back in the day. So I mean, I like wrestling. So I like all wrestling.
I do not. There's a lot of stuff I really don't like.
What besides the triple threats and the four-way dances don't you like? Are you a fan of the? Let's ask one of our high spots. Are you a fan of the new Ring of Honor?
The new Ring of Honor is really nothing. I mean, it's just little tiffs on AEW television. Ring of Honor used to be something I would aspire to, and when you watch some of the old clips, it's something that really blows you away. It's something that never, like, at the time was just never seen before. And then it was so good that, Triple H would then go to try and emulate it in a lot of ways, maybe not in every facet, but in a lot of ways in what NXT would originally be, and especially towards the height of its popularity. And it kind of showed that it could work, with a budget and with the right things behind it. Ring of Honor could work. So today's Ring of Honor is what? A couple matches on a TV show that's not called Ring of Honor, a couple of pay-per-views this year, places that don't hold up the tradition. I heard Final Battle wasn't even in the Hammerstein, and it's like, I don't know, like what is it really, other than just a bought and sold name? Go ahead.
Do you think that maybe AEW should switch? Maybe instead of doing Dynamite and Rampage, maybe do they turn Rampage into the Ring of Honor TV show?
Well, that's kind of there's kind of two questions in one, right? Like the first one being, where do you put Ring of Honor? And they've decided already, Ring of Honor TV is going to be on Honor Pass or Honor Card, whatever that is called. And then pay-per-views will be available 90 days after on that. And it's so confusing. It's just kind of tucked away, right? And so you wonder what else it could do, what kind of good it could do. You wonder if you need 2 YouTube shows that are dark shows, and then a television show that's ratings are sinking like the Titanic, and then Dynamite, and so you wonder what to do with all those. Do you think maybe you put it on YouTube? I think it would make just as much money on YouTube And I think it would be interesting and it could be different. And if you put someone else in charge of it, but then, so then it's like, what do you do with Rampage? Now, I think Ring of Honor being in that time slot would be a big enough shakeup with a big enough build, could shake up and actually change those ratings. Because right now, Rampage has a stink on it. It has a stink on it that you need to shake out, and you need to shake the carpet out and whip all the dust out, because no matter what they put on there, they could put on marquee matches. They could put on anybody's marquee match. They could put on, I think Moxley has been on there. FTR has been on there. The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega have been on there. Bryan Danielson has been on there. It doesn't matter who they put as just a name. It doesn't draw the people in because people know it's not going to be anything worthwhile, nothing worth watching live. A lot of people have already watched SmackDown that night if they do watch it live. So now they're asking for a third hour of wrestling at the end of a week packed with wrestling. If you watch everything you can consume in 1 week in professional wrestling, you're exhausted. That's 3 hours of Raw. That's 2 hours of NXT on Tuesday, 2 hours of Dynamite on Wednesday, something on Thursday, I'm sure, and then 3 more hours on Friday between SmackDown and Rampage, and it's exhausting.
And the viewership really shows that, because SmackDown generally, if they're on Fox, if they're on Big Fox, they're usually drawing around the 2 million viewer mark. And then Rampage comes on, and Rampage drops to not the last few weeks. They haven't even drawn over 500,000. So that's 1.5 million viewers that are not going from Smack. And I know they're on different channels, so you can't really say that. And yes, when SmackDown is on FS1, you know, that they draw a lot less than they do, because not everyone has FS1. So, or no, they know it. And, you know, I don't know. I think you could draw with Ring of Honor being in the Rampage spot. I think you're going to still draw around the 400 to 500,000 people. I think. I don't know for sure. Maybe Alpha and Justin can weigh in on what they think, but that's my opinion.
Well, about Rampage, I think
can't be done in name alone. You know, like you can't just smack a new name on it and expect, all right, that's going to be the magic. That's going to be what gets people in. That's not. It can't just be you know, it has to be so much more than just smacking a new name on the same show, especially if it's going to be the same show.
Right. So, does anybody have any final questions for our first guest of the evening, Jakob, Edwinn, Haas?
Well, let's step back in the ring here for a moment. And, you know, I know in WDWA, you know, I'm one of them that's never quiet in your classroom and, you know, just totally disrespectful to the teacher. And, you know, and so I know that you had been offering an invitation to Mr. Martinsburg, Jordan Evans, to join your classrooms. And his brother, TY, actually just defeated him this weekend. And now he's, you know, going to be forced into retirement. So what's going to be next for Jakob Edwinn, and do you have anybody else that you have your eyes on?
I always have my eyes open. I always want to see the next prospect, the next student that the professor could teach. Listen, Jordan, he dug his own grave there. You know, he absolutely had everything he could at his fingertips, and it all just fell short. You know, look what happened to him. He's retired now. He's gone. He's out. He's kaput. I don't need him anymore. TY, he's doing his own thing. He's doing his own successes, but my eyes are always open and they're always looking. And it might not be in Martinsburg per se. Maybe it's in Pennsylvania somewhere. Maybe it's in Tennessee somewhere. I can tell you this: you can follow me on @JakobEdwinn everywhere except TikTok. I'm not on TikTok yet.
Oh, you don't do the TikTok dances?
No. So I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Hive. I think that's the latest one. and I'm on Facebook. For as long as these last, that's where you can find me. That's where you can find my information. And maybe you'll find who I'm eyeballing next, who I'm targeting next. And maybe you'll see it in January or February coming very, very soon.
You should come to the St. Louis area. We got some pretty good wrestling out here. So
I have been through St. Louis before. Quick story. I was in St. Louis to do the Harley Race camp. One of the
okay. Yeah, with WLW, with World League Wrestling. Yes.
Exactly. At that camp, there was Ring of Honor represented by Beer City Bruiser and what's his name? Damn it. Delirious.
Delirious. Yes.
I kept wanting to call him Demented. New Japan was represented by Gato and Rocky Romero, and the WWE was represented by Steve Corino. And we got to spend 5 days with those gentlemen, learning under them, and they were a huge contribution to the professor that I am today. That was a huge benefit and something I'll never forget. And I was able to meet the infamous Harley Race before he passed.
Okay, so this was prior to his pass.
It sure was.
Yeah, because I can't. Yeah, they still do that development camp. They haven't, obviously because of everything that's happened in the last few years, it hasn't been as bit. But WLW is still around. It's being run by his son now. So I mean, and I work for a couple of promotions in the St. Louis area. So I
would love to. I would absolutely love to.
The only thing that sucks about Missouri is you have to get licensed. So but we're not the only state that does that. So
no, there's quite a few.
So I guess before we let you go, you've already shouted out all your social media handles. What do you got coming up in the next few weeks, months? I mean, I know we're getting close to Christmas, so
I've wound down the year. The year is wrapped up for Professor Jakob Edwinn, unless a call comes in last minute. But I've made plans with friends, with family, so my year is wrapped up. I think I've got the next month off. So follow me on social media. That's where you'll get the latest and greatest news for me, and that's going to be your best bet. There's nothing coming up. I'm not going to advertise something over a month out. So go ahead, follow me on social media. That's where you'll find my upcoming dates as they come. Everybody enjoy your winter break. Enjoy. There's no homework. I promise you.
One more time. Go ahead and shout out all of that social media information, just so people can find you.
Everything is going to be at Jakob Edwinn, JAKOBEDWINN. That's everything. That's what I have on everything there.
Cool. Well, Professor, it was great talking to you. You do have the gift of gab, I will say that. So thank you for joining us, and just make us a promise that you'll come back on the Wrestle Talk podcast, and we'll talk some more about the wrestling business.
Listen, I promise nothing, but if you ask real nicely, maybe I'll be on in the future.
Well, I'll either send Haas or I'll send Nightmare Joe Lance, one of the two. I mean, I don't know which one you want me to send more.
Joe Lance, I'll punch right in his mouth.
Oh, please! I would Venmo you $5 if you did that on camera.
I cost a lot more than $5, sir.
All right, Professor Jake Edwinn, thank you for joining the Wrestle Talk podcast. Have a good evening, and best of luck.
And welcome to the Wrestle Talk family, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, later. Have a good one. Well, gentlemen, that was an interesting first interview. What's your guys' thoughts?
Yeah,
Alpha.
I was, it's always nice to see, to me that's a new face, and I'll look him up on more on social media now to see if I can keep track of him, learn more about him. He seems to be a villain from the point of view I got. He seems like he likes being a villain.
Right. So yeah, we got a lot of things left to come. Haas, we got the FWWC segment. If you want to jump, I'm gonna go ahead and throw you backstage because I know you need to get ready for that. We got the snippets of truth coming up, and we've got our second guest, the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Champion, who is
your best friend.
He's already sent in the private chat that Stitchy Poo said hi, and
it seems like he's a great guy.
God, is this the way
He
this
just
is
wants to say hi.
is this the way this is the way it's gonna go? So we still got a whole bunch of Wrestle Talk podcasts to come. Our next segment is going to be the FWWC segment, one of our big sponsors, the #1 fantasy wrestling. So at this point, I am going to bring on I gotta get the theme. He's got theme music. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the Wrestle Talk podcast, the one and only Hardcore Hoss. Hardcore, take it away. Tell us about what's coming up on the FWWC.
How y'all doing tonight, there, fellas?
Fantastic.
I'm doing good. You got the FWWC coming off of NXT, coming off of Deadline. Are you guys taking a holiday break?
Well, I'm gonna do a little explanation here about what's going on in the FWWC. And so, people stick around and see here. So if you paid attention to the FWWC tonight, this past Thursday night, you actually got to hear that we have actually started up a new part of the FWWC that we are calling the Fed, which stands for FWWC Evolution and Development. This will be the part of the FWWC that we take the new people and we mold them into the superstars that you see on the screen, kind of like your NXT for WWE. And if you are a returning superstar that we feel needs, just a little tweaking, or if we find that you need a little tweaking in between, you might fall back to the Fed, kind of like the New Day has in NXT, but so that's kind of what you got coming here in the FWWC. So right now we currently have 4 superstars that have debuted in the Fed. We have King Denzel, and we also have Killer Thorne. We have Daniel Grimm, and we have Jinx. Now, some of you may have heard the name Daniel Grimm before because he's been around the FWWC before and has now returned to the FWWC by virtue of the Fed. So they had their first outing here at this last pay-per-view. And in that first outing, we actually got to see King Denzel take on Jinx. And King Denzel came out with the victory on that one there. And, congratulations to King Denzel for picking up his first victory. And then you had Daniel Grimm taking on Killer Thorne. That match didn't quite get the conclusion we were looking for. They went to a double count out between the two of them. They took each other to their limits, and look forward to seeing more out of those superstars. And, so make sure you tune in to the FWWC tonight, though, on Thursday nights. They will be giving more information as what's to come. And of course, you'll be hearing more about the Fed and what's to come for the Fed. And just super excited to see these guys and what they're going to bring to the table. And, real quick, I know the Alpha is part of the FWWC. And Alpha, what are you thinking of the Fed and what you've seen of these guys here lately in the Fed?
Well, quite frankly, there's a lot of old faces and a lot of new faces. And while I would love the opportunity to take for each of them, I have my personal beefs right now, and I actually made it very clear in my last promo in the FWWC that if that certain somebody didn't see me fit as a competitor, then I think he needs to sign my contract and send me back down to developmental. But that's neither here nor there. As far as the returning Daniel Grimm, it's good to see you, and you haven't been rid of the alpha just quite yet, my friend. But it's good to see you back.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and head back out of here, and let you guys take back over. But once again, make sure you tune in to the FWWC tonight on Thursday nights, 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern. Well, and the CEO should be there, Dewan Mills, unless he's off slacking again or whatever it is he's doing. Who knows?
He's making deals.
That's what they say. He's probably drunk somewhere. Who knows? But, and until then, I guess we'll be off, and he'll make some announcements this coming Thursday night. So be sure to tune in.
All right. Thank you very much, Hardcore Hoss. FWWC Thursday nights right here on the WrestleTalkPodcast.com. So, you know what? We're going to keep this show rolling because up next, it's probably everyone's most uplifting segment of the week. We got a lot to talk about here, too, for some reason. So I'm going to welcome back on. Hey, John, how's it going?
Did I miss anything?
No. You
okay.
Some guy named Hardcore Hoss came in, so I don't know. I just work here. So it's time for the Snippets of Truth with the one and only Big Daddy P. Big Daddy P, how's it going, man?
You know me, same circus, different tent. Hey, if I was doing any better, I'd be twins. Can you imagine two of me?
Oh, God, no. Good Lord, no.
How are you guys? What?
Oh, we're having some connection issues, it looks like.
You know what?
We seem to be having a little bit of connection issues.
Yeah, well, I can hear me.
You're cutting in and out.
Oh. Boo.
Well, I tell you what, Big Daddy, do you want to go ahead and step out for a bit and see if you can get the connection issues fixed, and we can bring you back at the end of the show? Does that sound good? All right. Well, why don't we plan on that then?
Yeah, we'll bring you right on to our second interview because we got a lot to talk about with Snippets of Truth. So I hope.
What'd you say? The Snitch of Truth?
No, the snippets. Stop.
This guy's becoming my favorite pro wrestler in the Midwest right now. I can't wait to chat with this guy.
I think you're in the minority here, there, Rodell. And I think I do have a message for you. I've seen where there's a message that says, "Tell Rodell that Snitchy Poo says hi."
Anyway,
make a great tag team.
Anyway, we can't do this without our sponsors. So I'm gonna go ahead. Can you throw up the sponsors? So I can go ahead and read off the sponsors because we got a big segment coming up here in just a few minutes.
Are you sure you can read them?
I'll read them.
Or are you upset over the Snitch so much you can't read them?
Alpha, go ahead and read them because
Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank all of our great sponsors. We have Royal Mills Transportation, led by Dewan Mills. We have Rathburn Engraving. You can get your Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs for just $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs. That's where you can get your Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group.
Hey, you catch on quick there, Alfred.
It's like
you have a teleprompter.
It does that does help. So we got Aaron Lawrence in the house. Wallace. Sorry, Lawrence. Yeah, no, Aaron. Well, we got Aaron. We got both of them in the house. Aaron Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
And I agree with you, Susie. Leave me alone. So
wow, you're an adult. You can take it.
So anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and give an introduction to our second guest here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. It is my pleasure to welcome to you the brand new. He defeated Benjamin Trust last month at Thanksgiving Slam. He is the brand new Dynamo Pro heavyweight champion, ladies and gentlemen, the Snitch.
Love the music.
I'm a big Godzilla nerd, so this is big for me.
Christopher. How does it feel, man? How does it feel to announce me as the new Dynamo Pro heavyweight champion? I hope it tastes like ash in your mouth, my man. That's how I hope it tastes.
I respect the hell out of you, but I don't quite respect where you actually got to this point. But we'll talk about that later. So this past, I guess, in Thanksgiving Slam, you defeated Benjamin Trust. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you earned that match?
How I earned that match? I did what I had to do, Chris. I've been held back for 5 years. 5 entire years. Actually, more than 5 years. 1,865 days, I believe, to be exact. And that was after I earned a Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship match. Back in, 2017, Chris. That's how long I've been waiting. I did what I had to do. And I took Tommy Davis, and I beat the crap out of him. I beat him with the chair. I beat him on his back. I beat him in his legs. I beat him on his head. I thought I was going to break his arm and maybe just destroy that throat a little bit. It looks like he's a pretty resilient little dude, though. So, good for Tommy for withstanding that.
So you want to talk about you're talking about the original, about the forehand show that you were eliminated in the Battle Royal after.
No, I was never eliminated.
You were thrown over the top rope. So, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to rehash history. You are the Dynamo Pro champion. I respect that. We got Mary Snitchmas coming up. And apparently we had to name the title of the show tonight, Mary Snitchmas, for you to actually come on the show. So, I mean...
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm your champion. Seems to me like you're going to name a show after your champion. That just makes good sense business-wise and, just makes sense in general.
He deserves the respect.
We all know that Snitchmas is the most wonderful time of the year.
So I guess we're in the 12 days of Snitchmas now because we're 12 days away from the actual Christmas. So I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be a long week.
Could we get a written version of the 12 days of Snitchmas? I want to know what I get for my true love every day.
I did the 12 days of Snitchmas a few years ago.
Oh, perfect.
Bringing up old gimmicks.
I believe I read that speech. I forget everything about it, but hey, you know what? We just rehash things. So anyway, I'm gonna throw it to Haas first because he seems to be a fan of yours. You and him and Nightmare Jones are like huge Snitch fans. So I'll let them go ahead and talk about what they want to talk about.
I got to get my shirt with one of his pictures on it, like Nightmare Jones had last time.
God, that's just,
shirt.
Just,
Nightmare Jones is a smart man.
I will tell you when I posted the picture of you holding up the title, I think Joe might have been the happiest person in the West Virginia area. So
I don't know, man. I'm pretty popular in Western Virginia.
So are you finding now that you have the championship that people are showing you more respect that you have been deserving all this time, or?
Well, not Dynamo Pro. As you guys are probably aware, while they have named their next show Merry Snitchmas, they also haven't announced who my opponent would be. Now, when, like, say, Benjamin Trust was the heavyweight champion, he knew weeks in advance. Hell, he knew he was going to face me back in October. But they haven't announced anyone for me, have they? I wonder why. I'm guessing that it's because they cannot find a single person that could withstand the king of the monsters. They saw what I did to Ben Truss. They saw what I did to Tommy Davis. They saw what I did to Makazi. They saw what I did to Sadie Blaze. They saw what I did to ATM back in, I think, April. They've seen what I have done to their entire roster. They know that I retired Outcast.
That's actually was about a year ago that you retired.
It was exactly a year ago. It was what many thought was going to be the culmination of my plan, but it was just the beginning. That was just one pillar of Dynamo Pro that I was going to take down. That now digression over. They've seen what I've done to every single person on their roster that they put in front of me. And they know that there cannot be one single person that could withstand the Snitch barrage. They cannot withstand the King of Monsters. So I'm guessing that either they're having trouble finding somebody, or they're just hoping that by coming up with some big surprise that they'll be able to catch me slipping, catch me unprepared. But that is not something that happens.
It seems to me that there's several people out there who just all their taste must be in their mouth, like Chris Rodell and people like Renee the Night Owl Martinez, talking about you being an internet troll, and people like Aaron Wallace who say that you stole the championship, and I think it's ridiculous that they treat a champion this way. I mean, it's
well, that's all right. I don't expect peons like the Night Owl or Aaron. Aaron's a passionate young man. I respect his passion. That's good for him. But I don't expect them to respect me. I don't need them to respect me. You know what I have that respects me? Hold on just a second. I'll show you.
He's gonna go grab the belt.
I have
again.
this, and this respects me because it is around my waist. This is all that I need. And anybody, whether or not they respect me, they're going to have to take it from my waist. They can respect me. They cannot respect me. But they will not get this away from me. This is all I need. I don't care. Dynamo Pro has been disrespecting me for 5 years. I'm used to it.
Have you slept with that title recently? I mean, do you sleep with it every night?
I don't take it off, Christopher. I took it off my waist just so I could show it to the camera, but it's going to go right back on my waist as soon as I'm done with this.
Justin,
5 years is a long time, Chris. You know what?
You act like I had something to do with those 5 years. I didn't have anything to do with that.
You know the old meme back in the day. The Dynamo screw job lasted longer than the Confederacy, Chris. I know you like that old meme.
Anyway, Justin.
Yeah.
Justin. Go on.
I'll try
go.
Chris, be nice, or I'm going to have to mute your mic here.
Just calm down, Rody. I'll talk to Mr. Snitch here. Mr. Snitch, it's good to meet you. I've been following your career since you debuted with Dynamo. Why do you think Dynamo has such animosity toward you? What's the give on that?
I don't play their games. I don't fit what they want in a champion. I didn't fit what they wanted in a wrestler, for that matter. Even from when I was training, guys I trained with, I trained with and I debuted on the same night as CJ Shine. CJ Shine's first match was against Jake Durden for the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship, because CJ Shine he smiles, he dances, he's got that floppy curly hair. It's gorgeous, by the way, I have to admit, but that is what they want. They want somebody who will dance, who will do one-handed cartwheels. They don't want somebody who will speak his mind. They don't want somebody who will talk back to them. They don't want somebody who will call them out for their unfairness. So when I finally do win, and when I finally do, I guess, get the opportunities that I deserve, but I don't know as they say in the real world, deserve has nothing to do with nothing. But they don't like what I am. I mean, look at Chris. Chris is very important in Dynamo Pro, and look at him right now. He can barely contain himself. He can barely hold back his anger. And
I'm not angry. I'm happy that you won the title.
You certainly weren't happy on November 27th, my man.
I don't like the way that you got your title shot, but that's not for me. You got what you wanted and you cashed in. So, but we'll see if you can actually get past Mary Snitchmas on this Saturday.
Nah, I'm not worried. It's gonna be a while. You're gonna have to be announcing me as the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Champion for a long, long time, Chris.
Justin,
I got another question. Since Mr. Snitch, I'm going to refer to you in a respectful manner, since you're the current.
You can call me Snitch. Mr. Snitch was my father.
Okay, Snitch. Since your beginning of your career, you had many great matches, and in the last couple of years, though, it seems like your perspective has changed. What do you attribute to that change?
Losing a year and a half to the pandemic. I'm not the youngest guy. I'm not as young as, say, like Tommy Davis or any of those guys. I don't have, I came back from the pandemic and I saw that I'd been waiting for 4 years for my opportunity, and I couldn't wait 4 more years. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to do what I had to do. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been in your jobs, if you've ever been, say, like held back from a promotion, watch somebody less deserving than you get a promotion or something along those lines. Now imagine watching somebody get promoted over you. You're getting held back for 4 years or 5 years. Imagine that. Imagine I don't know if it's rage. I don't know if it's just frustration or whatever, but just imagine that. And I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to have to do what I have to do. And I don't care what it is. I'm going to get my shot, and I'm going to get where I need to be, and I'm going to get to where I know I should be.
And I can actually relate to that with the whole promotion thing. That's happened to me before. So, I mean, believe it or not, I'm not everyone's cup of tea with things. So, but it is what it is. You just you go and you move on. But you got your shot at the Sports Academy in the Fatal 4-Way match that Ben Truss picked up the title. That was supposed to be your shot. You then took business upon yourself and attacked Tommy Davis.
Yeah. In a 4-way match where they begrudgingly threw me in at the last minute, and then during the match, I broke my ankle. Well, actually, I hurt my ankle, and then Ricky Cruz. I mean, and you know what? All due respect to Ricky Cruz, man, he did what he had to do. He broke my ankle. Ricky Cruz broke my ankle at the end there. So, I mean, sure, if that was my shot, okay. But then guess what? I got another shot, didn't I, Christopher?
Well, you forced Ben Truss's hand. I mean, you were going to break Tommy Davis's neck.
Oh, so. I politely asked him. Politely asked
why you had the chair around Tommy Davis's neck, but that's fine. Justin Alpha, do you have anything that you would like to talk about our Dynamo Pro champion, the Snitch? I will let.
Well, I had a couple questions. For starters, as a masked wrestler, what made you want to wear a mask in the first place? I'm not sure if that's like a too personal question for a masked wrestler, but
I knew to get ahead in the wrestling business, the things that I was going to have to do weren't going to be pretty. And I knew to get ahead in the wrestling business, I was going to have to be observant and observe, say, people in power, like, say, as Chris would know, people like Jim and people like Crystal, people like Sadie Blaze. And when you wear a mask, they don't know who's behind the mask. And trust me, I walk around these shows at Dynamo Pro, wherever I'm working. I walk around shows, and they don't know who's behind the mask. Chris might not know who's behind the mask. He might think he does, but he doesn't.
That is true. I do not know who is behind the mask. That kind of scares me because I've seen pictures of you that you've posted that you're like right behind me when I'm at the announcer's table. So that kind of creeps me out. But you know what? We do what we have to do.
But if you have an agenda, if you have places to be in the business, having a mask makes it
it's the mystique.
Makes some of those things a little bit more simple.
I gotcha. And then the other question was more related to your theme song that you had for tonight, and that is that I caught that it was the Godzilla theme, and I wanted to ask, what is your favorite Godzilla movie?
Oh, that's a good question. Shin Godzilla. It's a new one, or it's the newest one, I think.
We can be best friends now.
2023, but Shin Godzilla is probably my favorite.
Such a fantastic film. I recommend it for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Nah, I'm not a big movie person, so.
Not a movie person. Who's not a movie person? What kind of thing is that?
I haven't been to I haven't seen I don't think I've seen a movie live in like years. I just don't.
I'm not a looking person. I'm not really into looking at things.
I'm a wrestling and a music guy. That's really all I am. Is I'm a wrestling and a music guy.
So why is it, Chris, that there are 4 people over here on this side of the screen, and out of the 4 people on this side of the screen, 3 of them like the Snitch and you do not?
Yeah, what's going on there?
I mean, okay, if you've seen anything between me and the Snitch, you would understand that he hasn't been the nicest to me. I mean,
he seems like he's being nice to you tonight.
Chris was the voice of Snitch for about 3.5 years.
And why did you fire me from that? I still don't understand why we're not doing that anymore. You basically fired me from being your voice.
It got to a point where I needed to speak for myself, Christopher.
Dr. Dallas, I am not ridiculous.
So it seems to me this ain't personal. Why he let you go, Chris? He had to speak to himself. It's business.
I mean, I thought I was doing a good job conveying his message to the masses.
Trust me, things with Dynamo Pro went well beyond business. They got plenty personal.
And I want you to know I have nothing to do with anything match-wise at Dynamo Pro. You think I do, but you point out that I held you back. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Everybody in a position of power at Dynamo Pro, I know for a fact, was involved in the Dynamo screw job.
I am just the announcer. I go out there, I do my job, and I go home. That's all I do. I mean, and do a little bit of media with Luke. So, I mean, I don't know why you always have a problem with me. Maybe it's just because I'm the face. I don't know.
Christopher, I haven't hit you with a chair. I don't have that big of a problem with you. Trust me. If I had a huge problem with you, Christopher, you probably would not be at any more Dynamo Pro shows.
I bet you've thought about it, though.
Oh, I thought about it. How about this, Christopher? My attack on Sadie Blaze was a matter of convenience. Don't think that you still don't have a target on your back, my friend.
You attacked him at his place of business, okay? I mean, that's just that. I mean, that's the way it was. You attacked him. Anyway, Justin.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me get back to my questioning here. It says that I've heard you often refer to the phrase silent majority. Can you explain that? What that means to you?
Silent majority is my fans. Now, for a while there, they weren't getting so silent. Did a ladder match a couple years ago for the D1 title, and I'm pretty certain that the entire match there was some snitch chants going on. My fans are numerous, but they are afraid to speak their mind at Dynamo Pro shows because they see the type of reaction that I get. They see people like, say, Mr. Wallace, who's in the comments, saying some pretty mean things about me. They see Ricky Rodriguez's mom slapping me during my match. They see reactions like that, and they just decide that, like me for the longest time, that maybe silence is the best way for them to cheer for Snitch.
So okay. Renee the Night Owl actually asked a question, and I think we should go ahead. Who do you blame specifically for you not getting a title shot? Luke Roberts, me, Evil Jim, Crystal, the fans. What do you who do you blame?
Blame all of the above, Christopher. All of the above. I blame Jim and Crystal for owning Dynamo Pro and for making decisions specifically to keep me from their heavyweight championship. I blame Sadie Blaze for the same reason. I blame Luke Roberts and you for simply being just little lackeys of the power structure of Dynamo Pro. And I blame the fans for standing by idly as my earned title shot just kept getting thrown down the line, just kept getting pulled away from me. They laughed when they were like, oh, you get a title shot, and then they put me up against Reign Victoria for the women's title, which I should have won. She beat me by giving me a flatliner on a chair. Now, if you say that I'm hideous for what I did to Tommy Davis, Christopher, was Reign Victoria hideous for doing that to me?
I honestly don't remember that. So
of course you don't. I don't remember.
And you say you're the longest reigning. You say you're the longest reigning Riot on the River champion, but you didn't come back to defend that title the year after you won it. You were announced as in the tournament, then you backed out.
I was protesting, Christopher.
So you're technically not the longest reigning Riot on the River champion.
I am the only Riot on the River champion that has never lost in the Riot on the River tournament. So, okay. I mean, champions usually have to be beat to lose their title.
Whoa.
Adrian Surge lost his, he was beat the year that I won. Benjamin Truss lost. And now Ricky Rodriguez is the fake Riot on the River champion.
Time out.
I have never lost.
I want to correct the record on that. You did lose in the Riot on the River tournament this past year. You lost.
I was cheated.
You lost to Ricky Rodriguez. He pinned you 1-2-3 clean.
Oh yeah, because of you, Christopher.
How me?
Because of you, Christopher.
Because I wouldn't give you the chair for you to cheat?
Because you stuck your nose into our match.
I didn't stick my nose into anything. You wanted my chair. I wasn't going to give it to you because I thought you could win the match on your own.
Erroneous.
Who
now,
said
me winning on my own, I would have. And that's why you stepped in.
He wanted the chair to use it on Ricky Rodriguez.
Maybe he was tired and just needed to sit down for a second.
Oh, God. Anyway,
that seems just as plausible as me using a chair in a match, Christopher. I don't cheat during my matches, Chris.
No, you just
square. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I just needed a quick breather. I mean, Ricky was just lying flat on his back in the ring. Maybe I wanted to take a break too, Chris.
So cheating isn't poking people in the eye. Go, Justin. Go. What,
Chris? It's not cheating. It's elements of opportunity. If you look at it, from that perspective, it's cheating in your eyes, Chris. He's trying to be successful. And you guys are knocking him for wanting to be a successful person. That's how society is.
It's not cheating if the referee doesn't.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you're successful at singing.
I am absolutely happy that Snitch won the title. He deserves it.
Look how happy you are. Look at that. Look at that happy face.
Anyway, Dr. Dallas Stevens says I know you've been a part of MMWA the last few months, that you apparently have friends in Dr. Dallas Stevens and the Junkies for Fame. So apparently
he's a doctor. He's very smart.
Well, apparently I got some fans too. Susie Haas says she's got my back. So,
oh jeez.
Anyway, Justin, someone asked.
I got one more question. Let's take a minute here and share a few. I'm going to share a few names with you, and I just want to get your thoughts on the following people here. Let's go with first the Wind of Destruction, Makazi. What are your thoughts on Makazi?
Oh God. Makazi is probably the toughest person I've ever been in a match with, and I've been in a match with Outcast. I've been in a match with Outlaw. Makazi, he did things to me that I don't think he should have been done in a match. He certainly put me through the ringer. But unfortunately for the Wind of Destruction, his time has passed. And he may be a monster, but he found out back in, I guess, was it October, Chris? He found out in October that I am the king of monsters.
All right, I was muted. I'm sorry. Yes, it was the first round of the Big Bad Ben Memorial Tournament. It was you and Makazi. It was right after you attacked Sadie Blaze, and Makazi is his alter ego, and you survived that beating. I mean, he threw you up against the wall. He threw you up against, the merchandise table, against the railings. But
did he use chairs? Did he use chairs, Christopher?
I do not remember that.
Of course you don't remember that.
Anyway,
weird, man. It's strange, the things that you forget, Chris.
Justin, you have more of this.
Next on this list I have is let's go with the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz. Your thoughts?
Ricky Cruz he's the king, man. Ricky Cruz is a master. He is a master in the ring. He's a master outside of the ring. He is a master of every single aspect of wrestling. Ricky Cruz broke my ankle back in June. I have nothing but respect for Ricky Cruz.
And has one of the most feared chops I ever. I mean, you've taken a chop from him, haven't you?
Yeah, Ricky Cruz has chopped me many a times.
Yeah.
I think my boobies are still bruised from it.
But see, he remembers that, Chris.
Yeah, good point, Hardcore Haas.
Justin,
this next name is going to get close to home for someone here. What are your thoughts on Mr. Chris Rodell?
I'll keep it family friendly. Chris Rodell is a lackey. Chris Rodell is a peon in Dynamo Pro. Chris Rodell also likes to hide behind this facade that he is not important in Dynamo Pro, but he's been involved with them for 15 years, Chris? 10 years? 15 years?
It's been a while. I don't know exactly how long, but yes.
Right. Chris Rodell is this jolly man that you see. Well, he doesn't look so jolly right now, but this usually jolly man that you see, the smiler, the guy that is leading the charge in Dynamo Pro for all the crowd. That is a facade. He is a snake in big, beautiful, I don't know, sheep's clothing, I guess, but he is a snake, and he knows what I'm talking about.
Actually, I really don't, because I'm probably one of the nicest people you're ever going to want to meet. But I mean,
that's exactly what someone that's so nice would say, isn't it, Chris?
He doesn't remember.
One of our other
people I know, all the nice people I know are constantly saying, "Look how nice I am. I am just so nice."
One of our other hosts, Money Mayo, said the Snitch doesn't deserve to be near.
Where is Sonny Money? Oh, of course he can't be here today, can he?
He's on. He's on assignment.
Yeah, he's on assignment of avoiding talking to Snitch, the new champion, isn't he?
I mean, where's Joe? Where's your biggest fan, Joe Lance? I mean, what? I mean,
he's
not involved in your podcast. I'm involved with Wrestle Talk. What? Why would I know that, Chris? Where is Joe Lance? Did you guys just say like, hey, you can't do it today? You can't. You're not invited, Joe.
Okay,
in Chris's words, he's on assignment.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, I need to jump off screen for just a few seconds. I got a call from the office. So you guys talk amongst yourself.
Yeah. All right, I'll keep going. What do you think of Tom Davis?
Tommy Davis is a rising star in St. Louis wrestling, and I mean he's going to be a rising star beyond St. Louis wrestling. Unfortunately for Tommy Davis, he was rising a little too fast, so I had to hit him with the chair a couple times. Let's just be straightforward about it. But Tommy Davis he's going places in this business, and he's going to have plenty of title opportunities wherever he goes.
Okay. What about Mr. Ricky Rodriguez?
Ricky Rodriguez likes to fight for those who have been treated unfairly by our society, and I greatly respect that. But unfortunately for Ricky Rodriguez, sometimes he's a little too confident in what is good and what is bad. And I'm not talking about in anything outside of wrestling. I'm talking about specifically things that he said about me. Ricky Rodriguez is a warrior for those who can't necessarily fight for themselves. I respect that. But Ricky Rodriguez needs to watch what he says about Snitch. Let's just say that.
Someone asked what you think about Dick Douglas.
Dick Douglas has a lot of good ideas. Dick Douglas has a lot to say, and a lot of what he says is right on the money.
Okay. Justin, you got any more names that were on the list?
Yeah, looks like I got two more. CJ Shine. What do you think about Mr. CJ?
Me and CJ have a very, very long history. I already talked about how we debuted together. We've had countless matches together. And I would venture to say that most of our matches probably stole the show. CJ's got it all. He's an athlete. He's deceptively strong. He's incredibly agile. In the ring, you can't ask for anything more than what CJ Shine gives you. CJ Shine is also somebody who refuses to speak up when maybe things aren't going well for him. He refuses to ask questions that need to be asked, and that is why him and I always have friction, because he knows the questions that I ask are questions that need to be asked. He knows the things that I say need to be said, but he doesn't say them because, well, it's more beneficial for him not to say them.
Is he probably one of your most favorite opponents that you've had? I mean, in a serious sense, is he one of your most favorite opponents?
Absolutely. He's one of the best opponents I've had. Some of my best matches have been with CJ Shine.
Can you do a cartwheel?
Can I do a cartwheel? I can do a no-handed cartwheel.
I don't think that's really a
that's
thing.
Impressive, brother.
All right, Justin. Yeah, you said you had one more name.
Yeah, one more. Your thoughts on Dynamo Pro Management?
How about this? His name isn't Evil Jim for no reason. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. They have over the past 5 years created something in me that they no longer know how to control, and they're scared, and now they're going to try to get monstrous. I know they're going to get monstrous. I know. I saw Jim's face. I saw Crystal's face when I was holding that title, holding what was their title and is now my title.
I know you failed to
They're
mention,
not going to be able to be monstrous enough, though.
You failed to mention Crystal. What are your thoughts on Crystal?
He just did. Weren't you listening?
Maybe I wasn't, because anyway, go on.
Crystal is Crystal. Crystal is, if you get on Crystal's wrong side, she's as mean as they can be. And I've been on Crystal's wrong side for about 5 years now. And it isn't just Jim that's been holding me back. It isn't just Jim that was making sure that he did everything to keep me away from their title. Crystal was just right there with him. And it's not 1-2, it's not 1A, 1B, it's just 1-1.
So I'm going to hijack this here for a second, and I'm going to throw up. I have when I jumped off, I had a call from the office. So we got some breaking news. So I'm going to play this little breaking news banner that we have.
Busy man, Chris. Let's get this going.
So I have just been informed that I know who your opponent. Oh, I'm sorry, opponent. That's not the right word. Opponents are going to be on Saturday at Mary Snitchmas.
Well, I mean, I'm going to wrestle one match, Chris.
Well, yeah, true. You are going to wrestle one match. It is going to be a gauntlet match. You will be facing 3 competitors back to back to back. Don't get all up in. Don't get all up in.
Now I'm the champion. I have the belt right here, right next to me.
That's true. But
I'm the champion, so I'm going. So 3 guys are going to fight each other for the chance to fight me.
No, you're going to face. That's not. I know you might be new here. A gauntlet match is you're going to face
a gauntlet match is something that you go through to earn an opportunity.
No,
I don't need an opportunity. No, I have the belt.
You're going to go through a gauntlet match. The winner goes on to face the second competitor. The winner goes on to face the third competitor. So you have to win. You're going to have to win 3 matches. It sounds like.
No, this is. You have got to be.
I have names.
No,
I have names. You want to know the names?
It does. Sure, whatever, Chris. It doesn't matter what their names are.
You're going to have to face Captain Bad Attitude of the top 2, James Brady. You're also going to have, if you make it through, I don't know what order these are going to be in. So the second one in the gauntlet is going to be someone that you know very well that you took out to get your title match. Unstoppable Tommy Davis.
I'm gonna actually break his neck this time. How about that? I'm going to break his neck. I'm going to break his arm.
And the third member of the gauntlet match is going to be the Dynamo Pro D1 champion, CJ Shine. You're going to have to, if you're going to walk out of Mary Snitchmas with the title, you're going to have to beat all 3 competitors.
No, they're going to have to compete. They're going to have to compete to get to me, right? I can't go on first. I'm the champion. The champion does not go on first.
No, I'm pretty sure it's
right.
I mean, you can talk to the Dynamo Pro management. I mean, I'm just relaying what they sent me.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Line them up. I'm the king of the monsters. I will destroy each and every one of them. How about this? What if I beat CJ Shine? Do I get his D1 title? I doubt it.
His title is not on the line. The only title that will be on the line is the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship.
You guys talk about how what I do is despicable, is wrong. Look at this. Look what they're doing to their champion, Christopher. Look what they're doing to their champion, Justin. How about you, Alpha? How about you, Hardcore Haas? What would you do, Haas, to your champion? Would you make him do this? No, this is clearly just them trying to get revenge for me doing what I needed to do, for me taking down their pillars, taking down Outcast, taking down Sadie Blaze, taking down Makazi, taking their title and making it my title. This is clearly just them trying to get revenge. Well, guess what, Dynamo Pro? I am not seeking vengeance. I am not seeking anything else but to maintain my title. It is not your title. It is my title. Christopher, Chris, I will see you. I'll see you on Saturday.
I'll see you Saturday. You got he just up and I guess I made him angry. So
you did your job, Chris. You happy about yourself? Look what you did. We lost a
I am just going by what Dynamo Pro Management told me. It's going to be a gauntlet.
You two need to sit down and have a nice lunch. That's what you two need to go. You guys need to go to Chili's. That always lightens the mood of people. You know, maybe go to Dave and Buster's. Play a few games together. Maybe do some putt. But you guys need to be on the same page. He is your world champion. You guys got to promote him. He's got to market the company. You guys got to back your champion.
I mean, I have nothing to do with this. As you can see, I got called last minute by the Dynamo Pro office to announce it to him. It's a gauntlet match. Apparently, he's going to face 3 competitors. Well, he's going to face 1 competitor. Winner goes on to the next match. Winner goes on to the next match. So in a sense, I guess he really does have to defend his title 3 times.
Yeah.
Is it fair?
Yeah.
Is it fair? That's not for me to say. I mean, weigh in, gentlemen.
Now, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it this style, where it's going to be the main event, and he has to face all? You know, he'll have to wrestle all 3, consecutively, or are they going to split it up? One at the beginning. I'm going
to assume it's a gauntlet match, and it's going to be right back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I guess you're in the unfair category, Hoss.
No. I just want to know how this is going to run. He's going to have I could see if it was, first match of the show, the first gauntlet match. If he wins, he fights in the middle of the card, and then if he wins that, the main event is against the 3rd competitor. I could see that being a little more easier on him, but it's going to be an uphill battle for Mr. Snitch here, if it's going to be back to back to back.
Hoss?
Running the Snitch off like that, you're lucky I don't boot you off the show, Chris. I tell you, that was just rude, and it was wrong.
How is it rude? I am doing what I'm told by Dynamo Pro Management, and
you didn't boot him off the show, Chris. He hung up on us.
He basically
because of Chris.
I am just a terrible person.
Well, you know how I see it. What I'm seeing here is, you said you guys were a tandem back in the day, and he cut you off. It sounds like a bad breakup. Does that how it sounds to me, Alpha? Like a bad breakup?
It definitely comes across that way. There are definitely breadcrumbs of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even I am like Taylor Swift did, Chris.
I am the jealous. I guess I am the jealous ex-girlfriend, right?
And you see he's doing successful now, so it makes you even more spiteful. It's okay, Chris. We got your back. I see how it is now. I understand. I've had bad breakups too.
Now I understand.
Chris sees he's moved on to bigger, better, and more prettier things. He's heartbroken.
Oh
boy, this conversation has gone into a completely opposite direction of what I thought it was going to. This is a good time. So anyway, you can catch Dynamo Pro Wrestling Mary Snitchmas at the Concordia Turners Hall this Saturday. You can get your tickets online at big Dynamo Pro Wrestling.bigcartel.com. And in the background, we actually do have a little bit more breaking news from the NXT world. This is twice with the breaking. I
think I might know what this one is.
Roxanne Perez has won the NXT Women's Championship after being the #1 contender from the Iron Survivor Challenge. Sorry, Alpha. I know you haven't seen it, but yeah, she is the brand new NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez, and Booker T is literally beside himself. I mean, it's cool because he was one of Roxanne's trainers, so.
Well, you know what, Snit? Shoot, see, now you got me all flustered. You know what, Chris? I got some breaking news myself.
Oh, you?
Well, it didn't work quite as well, but okay. Welcome to this week's installment of the world famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge.
The guest left.
That's Chris. Chris, listen. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants were supposed to be the Snitch and Justin Wade. However, due to the Snitch's sudden departure, it has been decided that Chris Rodell, you will take the place of the Snitch this evening.
Who decided?
In a few moments, I will ask you the questions and in a particular professional wrestling topic. Whenever you think you know the answer to the question, shout out to your answer. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls will win tonight's game show challenge. So tonight it will be Big Sexy Chris Rodell versus Justin.
Who decided that I was going to take this place? I was not a part of this.
This will be fun.
That's the word that I got. Hey, you're lucky we don't make it a triple threat.
Why don't you just make it a 2-on-1? Isn't that fair? I mean, obviously that's not fair. I mean, whatever.
Maybe we should make it a gauntlet. So, Justin, are you ready for tonight's game show challenge?
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep this show PG because we're making jokes here, and I want to get really ignorant, but I'm going to be good here. So, my mom's listening. I can't know.
Well, apparently, I was compared to Taylor Swift. So, I mean, what
we're
more?
Making songs, you don't. She's damn more pretty than you did, Chris. I'm sorry.
Well,
true.
I don't look that good in a dress.
That is true as well.
Oh my God.
Justin just had that thought pop in his head, and now he wants to poke out both of his eyes.
So, Chris, are you ready?
All I'm thinking about is you, Rodell, acting like Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
He's just trying to get your mind off of the challenge is all.
Yeah, put the lotion on
the mind games are in effect.
So, are you ready, Chris?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't do well in these game show challenges, so.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hit that music, and so that we can get our minds ready for the world famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge.
And Susie, just so you know, no one wants to see me in a bikini. Just that's not even. That's going to be another thought that Justin has in his head that he's not going to be able to.
No, that'll just get us knocked off this platform.
Okay, so tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is Old School Champions. Chris, you might have an advantage on this.
Are you calling me old?
Yeah.
I just said you had an advantage. I didn't say you were old. That you just self-implied. I will give you information about 3 individuals who are the oldest person to hold a particular championship. Once again, when you think you know the wrestler that I am talking about, please shout out your answer. Are you ready for the questions, gentlemen?
I'm ready. I mean, I'm as ready as up.
All right. And if there is a tie, we'll go to the Alpha as the judge to see who he believes answered first.
Gee, I wonder who he's going to pick. Anyway.
This current member of the AEW roster is a member of the WWE and TNA Hall of Fame.
Sting.
That is correct. Sting.
I didn't hear the answer, so yes. So probably yes. Okay.
Hey, he's got you 1-0 there. Question number 2. This member of AEW roster has held championships in WCW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho is correct.
Woo! We got a fight here, boys.
All right, 1-1.
Nice punches.
Those were terrible punches.
Boy, you were just negative to everybody tonight, Chris. I tell
I'm
you.
giving him a compliment. And he just,
I know.
I put myself down, okay?
All right, question number 3. This professional wrestler has held championships in DDT, JWP, Smash, NXT, and the WWE. She is also the oldest professional wrestler to hold the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. She also competed last night on Monday Night Raw against Rhea Ripley.
Asuka.
Shit.
That is correct.
I don't see Asuka as being that old, though.
She's older compared to most of the roster, though.
That is true.
Yeah, it's like no disrespect to Asuka's age. It's just a lot of these female talents are starting as early as like 20. Like,
especially over in Japan.
Oh my! Are you kidding me?
Well, congratulations, Chris Rodell. You have won the game show challenge.
Yes, he's done it.
They might have to put someone else in if I keep this leadership going. So.
I definitely want to try one of these challenges. I love the game show.
Oh, it's fun. For some reason, I keep being picked, though. It's okay.
You keep getting picked because you kept winning.
And I've had a couple of wins, but I'm not very. I would guess that if I went back, my record is not very good on that. I don't. Hoss, have you participated in the game show challenge?
I have participated, yes, but I have never won it.
Mm.
I've been shut out more times than not.
And the only reason I got that first question right is because I'm a Sting mark. So
I just needed to hear Hall of Fame, AEW, or TNA and WWE, and I knew immediately.
Yeah.
And Sting at his age shouldn't be doing the things that he's doing. I'm just saying.
Oh, Lord.
I'm ready to do a tag match with Muda. So,
oh, God.
But see, I told you Chris would have an advantage on that.
And I didn't want
we didn't even talk about Sasha Banks going over to New Japan for.
Yes, I heard about that. Oh my gosh, I'm glad somebody mentioned it.
And she and apparently her contract is up. It's either up now or it's up at the end of the year. She hasn't officially been released, but I guess she's playing out the contract, or they're just not releasing her. And
she recently.
And apparently she's going over to New Japan, and they're going to pay her a lot of money, and that's good on her.
I'd love to see it. I think
get you that money,
of course. And I think especially now with New Japan having a women's championship. For those that don't know, they recently introduced one. I think that the potential to build up a roster for the female division, because we all know about stuff like Stardom and other female wrestling groups and associations. When you think of stuff like that, the term gaijin female wrestler doesn't come up that often. So for somebody like Sasha Banks, especially, to show up in NJPW with this newly formed division, I think we could see a new fire come out of her that I'm really excited to see.
And I don't think it's from what I've saw, I don't think it's a one-off appearance. I think she's on a per appearance basis, and apparently they're gonna pay her pretty decent. They're gonna pay her what Chris Jericho got paid to come in and do stuff. I mean, hey, good on you.
I think there was a rumor that Suzuki Gun was going to be adding a new member soon, and I'm going to be honest, I would mark out pretty hard if it was Sasha Banks. Just to have the first female member of Suzuki Gun showing up, that'd be pretty rad. I am definitely not a
New Japan follower, but I think that's pretty good. So
I'm hyped. As a New Japan follower, I'm hyped.
And apparently Jay White kind of said that Jay White said, I believe Mia Yim is officially a part of the Bullet Club, so she's not going to fit. Mia Yim's not going to fit in the Bullet Club, or Sasha's not going to fit in the Bullet Club. So I mean, I don't know where else you would put her. So real quick, I want to say one thing. I'll let you talk here in a second, but we got to send Perry, Big Daddy P, still having connection issues. I I need to send a shout out to former guest of the Wrestle Talk podcast, Nebraska Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame wrestler Jason Strife. If you haven't heard that, one, he's 37 years old, and he last week he entered hospice on Wednesday. And he's been around the Midwest. He's been in St. Louis. He's been all around the Midwest. Nebraska Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer. And I want to shout out to Jason to keep fighting. Hopefully you can kick out at 2. Just 37 years old and entering hospice. That's just I can't even imagine. So that's I want to send a shout out to him because he was a really good guest on the Wrestle Talk podcast. So
and real quick, Chris, you have been invited to the Illinois Center for the Autism Face-to-Face Social Group. They would like to have you as a special guest Thursday night. So
I will have to look at my calendar. That's a little short notice. I don't know for sure, but I will do my best to try to make it over there.
So you can get with Aaron on that. So
anyway, I apologize. I cut you off, Hoss. So what were you saying?
That's what I was going to let you. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
But I tell you what, if you gentlemen don't mind, I know doesn't look like Perry's going to make it back in, and I know there has been other prayer requests, and of course I don't know them all, but if you don't mind, I will greatly close this out with a short prayer as we go off, if that's okay with you gentlemen.
Go ahead, give us some
go for it.
Give us
before we do that, anybody else have any closing thoughts they'd like to say first?
No, I have nothing.
Just another good show. I wish we could get some more high spots, and I really enjoy the high spot segments. I think
likewise.
We're all pretty knowledgeable of this great business we call pro wrestling that we all thoroughly enjoy. I've loved this. I've been watching like it's going out of style, old WCW as of late, old Japan wrestling. I'm looking up wrestlers from Japan. I just kind of discovered I've heard of them in the past, but I'm really looking up things from a wrestler who died in 1963 from Japan. His name was Ricky Dozan, and great stuff. I'm like on the cusp of getting the New Japan streaming app because there's so much good stuff over in Japan. I just got done reading Scott Owens' autobiography. I'm getting ready to purchase the Stan Hansen Last Outlaw autobiography. I can't get enough of Japanese wrestling. I've always been a fan of the Dynamite Kid. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there and a lot of good genres for every fan out there.
And I hear rumors in the pipeline that the last show of the year we're going to do an extended. We might be doing some kind of a year in review, which will be awesome to have everybody a part of. So
cool. So all right, well, sounds good. I've enjoyed tonight, fellas, and look forward to next week's show. We've got another great show coming up. But as I said, I'll go ahead and I'll just close this out with a quick prayer because, like I say, I know we do have some prayer requests, and personally, I hate to overlook any of the requests that have been made, but I don't know them all. But you said the one about Jason. Aaron has said here his friend has an oxygen pack for his condition and wants to send a request. I know we did receive one earlier from William Bromwell, who Alpha knows as well from the FWWC. He's been having blood pressure problems, been having strokes. My father, he's had a host of problems over the years, and we just found out he's going to have treatments for cancer. So that's another one. And just in any of the others, they say I don't have them. They were sent over to Big Daddy P, and I know that he will personally pray over each and every one that he gets. But just real quick, I want to hit the ones that we do have. So let's go in prayer.
I got one more.
Oh, go ahead.
Big Hoss, I got one more. I'm sorry if I'm going to sound long-winded here. Me and my wife moved here to Seattle a year ago. And when we moved out here, we drove for 3 straight days to get out here. And when we moved from the Midwest, she took a job. She took a job out here. That's how we got out here. For a better life for us. And when we moved out here, we came with her mother came with us, Christine Harden. She came out with us, and it was we're a team. We were the triple threat of the Pacific Northwest. And today, sadly, marks the 1 year anniversary. My wife's mother passed away 1 year ago here in Seattle, and she was a great woman. She made me laugh every day. Kind of, if any of you guys ever watched The King of Queens, me and her kind of had that Doug and Arthur dynamic. The father and we loved each other, but we also gave each other, a little bit of a hard time every once in a while. But we always loved each other. And it's been a vacancy in our lives since she's left, because we wanted to give her a better life out here, and she was living a great life. She kept telling my wife that on a constant basis. And I feel like we were robbed because we wanted to give her so much more. And so in the prayers tonight, hardcore, let's add Christine Harden, because she was a fantastic person. I wish you guys, it's kind of hard because you guys never met her, and you guys aren't expected to. But I wish you guys could have had a little, there's a snippet of truth when Big Daddy P's on. I wish you guys could have had a little snippet of Christine, because she was a fantastic person.
Okay, well, all right. Anything else?
Nope. Take it away, Hoss. You're gonna end the show with us, and so.
All right, Father, we come to you right now, Lord, and we thank you for everything that you've given us in our life. For every blessing we have, we know has come from you. All the love we receive from each other, and though we may give each other a hard time, we all know that we are here for each other and we care for each other. And Lord, we just want to reach out to you for all the prayer requests that have been received tonight. You've heard each and every one of them, and for what their needs are better than we do. And we know that your hands are upon each of these situations. And we thank you for that, Lord, and just ask that you continue to guide these situations. And Lord, we just thank you for this platform that we can reach out to each individuals and just be there. And hopefully, through what we do, we may touch someone's life or may help them in a way that may even be unbeknownst to us. We just thank you for everything, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to be here with you guys tonight. It's been a wonderful show, and just looking forward to next week.
I can't wait for it. We'll do it next. We got 2 more guests next week. We're getting close to the. Can you believe it's almost the end of 2022 already?
Oh my God! Christmas is a week from now, dude. Like, feels like yesterday. It was last year.
I'll admit I haven't started my Christmas shopping yet, but I don't have very many gifts. I don't have very many gifts to get. So.
One more time before we go, though, we'd love to thank those great sponsors: Royal Mills Transportations, done by Dewan Mills; Rathbun Engraving, where you get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast mug for just $20. I believe it's $5 more for engraving; Nobleman's Barber Lounge; KCMO; King K at Arcade at the Oak Park Mall; Interstate 70 Sports Media; Little Popeye Designs, where you get those Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers; and the FWWC, the world's fantasy football. I can't even talk now. The world's premier fantasy wrestling group. There we go.
Hoss is still upset that Snitch has got to run a gauntlet this weekend, I think.
I'm upset you ran him off.
I didn't run him off. I just gave him what he's going to have this week. So
he was fine till you started talking.
Well, me and Snitch have a love-hate relationship, so I'm not
more hate than love.
I'm not writing.
I don't know. I think he loves to hate him, so I can understand.
I'm not writing songs about him. I'm not Taylor Swift. I'm not anything like that. So just, I don't like this. I don't like where this narrative is going right now.
So
you keep bringing up Taylor Swift. You're the one that keeps bringing attention to the name Taylor Swift, Mr. Rodell. So that's on you. I'm not taking the blame for this, Alpha, Hardcore. It's on you, my friend.
I agree with you.
We're adults here. I might not have the education of adulthood yet, but we're adults here.
We're all adults here talking about professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
And if he didn't want the association there, he would drop it and let it go. But he keeps bringing it back, so he obviously wants that association to stick in people's minds.
I feel like tonight has been 3 against 1, or at least the last half of the show was 3 against 1.
It was a gauntlet, 3 against 1, and you did a good job. Okay.
I'm gone. Bye. Have a good night. I'll talk to you guys next. I'll see you guys next week in the chat. We're Hoss, do we have an outro? Do we have an outro, please? Because I'm done with I'm done with all 3 of you.
I just heard the ambulance go by. Oh, he left.
Personally, I was having fun. I didn't see the need for the outro, but but then again, he left quicker than the Snitch did, I think. So. All right, gentlemen, it's been fun.
It's been awesome.
You guys have a good week. Take care.
Likewise. Have a good weekend. Happy holidays, all that jazz. I mean, it's Tuesday, but when you get to the weekend.
Bye, guys.